Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of domain and range. This is standard A.2A in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 44 of the 2016 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So we have a student riding a bike from school to recreation center. The graph shows the student's distance in miles. All right, so the distance is going to be our x-axis right there. The x is actually going to be the minutes there. The distance is going to be the y-axis right there. And that makes sense, right? Looks like it's a pretty steady rate, but we start with 9 and we go all the way down here. And the distance gets down to 0, gets to the location after 28 minutes. Now, we need to find the range. All right, so there are two terms that we need to understand here, domain and range, and unfortunately neither of them are going to be defined for us on the mathematics chart. Okay, so the domain is going to be the set of all, now keep in mind here, independent variables or independent variable values. Typically, we're going to call those our x values, and in this problem, they are the x values. Sometimes they replace the x with a u or a t or just, whatever the problem needs. So we're not necessarily needing the x values. What we need here is the range. So think of domain and range. Think of the d comes before the r alphabetically, x comes before y alphabetically. So since the domain is the set of all independent variable values, this is going to be our dependent variable values. And so in this problem, they didn't change it. They kept it as our y values. So we can just label it like this if we want to. Our domain is going to be over here on our x-axis. Our range is going to be up here on our y-axis. So how does that help us? Well, we see that our domain starts at 0. It is a line segment, does not go on forever. It has a starting point and an ending point, right? And they're closed circles, which means we are going to include each of those, right? So the domain x's go from 0 all the way up to 28. Now our y's, the range, which is what we are looking for, they go from 0 all the way up to 9. This is continuous data, and that's going to help us because what we're going to do is we are going to just simply use an inequality. We know it's continuous because it is a straight line and includes all numbers, okay? So all possible numbers, all real numbers between two sets, between two boundaries, between 2 points, and in this case it's going to be between our 0 and 9. So if we wanted to represent it with an inequality, we would say our y there is going to be greater than or equal to, what's the bottom bound? 0. And we're going to leave equal because it is a closed circle, and then it's going to be less than or equal to, what's the upper bound? That's going to be 9. So sometimes your answer is going to be in the form of an inequality. Obviously, it's in word form. So let's take a look, see what we have here. F, all real numbers greater than or equal to 0, check. Less than or equal to 28. Nope, this is actually the domain. We're looking for the range, but if I wanted to find the domain, F would be it. All real numbers greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 9. Okay, that looks exactly like what I just wrote. Let's check the other one. H, all real numbers less than or equal to 28. Okay, that's the domain, but then there's no lower bound, so that would be all the way over here and it goes on forever. So that's not going to work. Same thing with J. All real numbers less than or equal to 9. That's a good start, but it would go here and it would go down and never stop. So our answer here is G.